Welcome everyone and thank you for joining me. I'll be looking at the article Using Interactive Read-Alouds to Increase K-2 Student Reading Comprehension. I'll be looking at this through the lens of a mixed methods approach to research. The purpose of this study was to look at specific teaching strategy and the impact that this strategy has on a child's reading level and comprehension. The strategy used was the interactive read-aloud. An interactive read-aloud is when a teacher will select a high-quality piece of literature and then specifically target reading comprehension skills that they want to teach using this piece of literature. So a lot of times the teacher will look at their standards that they're teaching from and say, this is what I need, these are the reading standards that I need to teach. What book can I find to help best represent those skills? The researcher then, in this study, used both qualitative and quantitative data from two schools to explore this phenomenon. The sample, or purposeful sampling that was used in this study, was two groups. You had an experimental group, which was the school that was using interactive read-aloud, and then you had a control group, which was chosen because it mirrored that of the experimental group, in that it had a similar student demographic and was similar in nature of the school. This were two totally different sizes, but the demographics weighed out and was the most important. The quantitative data collected was based on the developmental reading assessment, which is commonly used across the United States to assess a child's ability to read and their comprehension. This was administered to both the control and experimental group at the beginning and end of a 9-week period of time. The DRA was administered by the researcher, and the qualitative data was collected from interviews with the teachers that were only employing the interactive read-aloud. There's some unique research understandings within this, or maybe not necessarily unique, but I thought good examples of some things that we've been studying. I thought she clearly explained these research techniques. So first was the idea of purposeful sampling, which we talked about, that control group and experimental group. She offers quite a bit of information about the demographics of each of these groups to allow us to really consider the validity of these findings. She explains in great detail the 3 phases of the research and explains when qualitative and quantitative data were collected. She talks about the triangulation of data collection. I think this was probably the most unique or interesting part of the research for me. And what she's talking about is that the participants used in the interview process were asked to look at the accuracy of the transcriptions and to check the viability of the research. So were the findings that she was pulling out, were those the similar findings that the participants felt? Like, did they believe that those were the things that they had said? Did that justify the themes that she was pulling out? Another key point was the DRA. Now, considering that a physical person has to test each student, I thought it was important that she noted the consistency that she's the person who tested all of the students. The methodological discussion. In it, she's very clear in her research that she uses the t-test for looking at the statistical sets of data and what was happening in testing the null hypotheses. She used this technique twice in her study, sorting and summarizing, explaining what she does to code the interviews, and then also she explains exactly how she used the SPSS to enter her data into the software program and find the results out of it, and then also the coding of the qualitative data and following what Rubin and Rubin suggest. In conclusion, while this might not be a content that's specific to you, I think that you'll find that her research is easily outlined. To me, it was taking everything that we've been learning and really organizing it in a very sequential way. And I just thought it was great examples of the t-test, sorting and summarizing, coding, the use of tables, and how this research can also be duplicated. So thank you for joining me, and have a great day.